What's up, guys? Chad over Kayak Bass Fishing. I'm here at 2018 Paddle Sports Retailer Show in Oklahoma City. That's in Oklahoma, in case you didn't know. And I am in the Nucanoe booth, and I'm here with this guy right here. That's Blake from Nucanoe.
What's going on, Chad?
So check this out. I ran into Blake in the aisle, and I said, man, what's new from Nucanoe? And he said, well, we don't have anything new that you haven't already seen, but we do have some things about what you've already seen that are new. Is that
right.
pretty much how you said it? You said something like that. So there's some new things about things that aren't new that I've seen that are, yeah. Anyway, we got some new stuff.
It's new, but it's not new.
And that's new.
But it's better
like
than it used to be,
you.
so therefore it is new.
It's like in you. So it is new.
Right.
So basically what he said was, hey, did you get a chance to get out and do the pivot drive at the demo day? Well, first of all, the demo day was about 150 mile an hour winds. And I had just worked out, so my calves were on fire. But more importantly, there was like about a 30-person line of dealers waiting to try the thing out. So I tried to stand there like I was going to get in line to try it a couple times. But like legitimately, you had a whole pier covered with people. The thing didn't stop moving the entire event. And so, yeah, I didn't get a chance to try it at the demo day, but I did get to watch probably 40 people running around with it. Honestly, man, I would say like smoking the competition, but I don't know that there was any competition because they were just blowing past people. It looks smooth as butter. You know, we're twisting this guy's arm to get Christy a unit, okay, so that we can get out there and blow it up. She's excited. She's never been excited about a pedal drive. I've never been excited about a pedal drive. There's two reasons that I've never been excited about a pedal drive. I don't want one in the front because I'm going to run into crap, okay? The other reason that I don't want a pedal drive is I have to give up my cockpit, right? And I hate giving up the cockpit. Those have been the two reasons that I've not used a pedal drive. Like, and people can say, oh, you just say that. No, I've been affiliated with companies that have pedal drives, and I didn't use them. I didn't like them. It's just one of those things for me. But what's unique about this system that these guys have come up with is it's the two big complaints I had. You know, it doesn't kick up, and I got to give up my cockpit. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to let Blake tell you about the pivot drive system, the updates.
Sure.
Since ICAST. Well, let's get the updates with Blake on the pivot drive, how it's set up, and what improvements they've made since ICAST, and what they have in plan for release date, price point, availability, and all that stuff that you guys are all asking in the comment section of the other videos. So Blake, do me a favor. Tell us about the pivot drive.
Well, first off, the pivot drive is it's an accessory. It's good for, you see here, and what's unique about it is it fits into the flint. It goes right in the bow. The pedals do not go through the deck floor. It drives a cable that goes off the transom. So that's a quick overview. Now, it's at ICAST. We literally put this thing together Thursday before ICAST, packed it in a box, flew with it on the plane to ICAST. So it was like, we got everything together. Yes, we're excited, but it had not been refined, it had not been fine-tuned. So since ICAST, that's what we've been doing. Designing new parts, printing new parts, testing out new things, making some big improvements. Let's jump over here and I'll show you what we've done, Chad. You can probably stay on that side.
All right,
get across here. So
here we go.
So the pedal tower is redesigned. Easier to adjust the tensioner pulley, just a little bit more finely tuned inside. We still have the nice pivot, as Chad was saying, get those pedals out of the way when you don't need them.
All right, so let me back up real quick before you move that. So basically one of my gripes with pedal drives in the future is you put it right here. Now, it's in your way, right? You can't lay your rods down beside it. When you stand up, it's right there in your face. What I've actually seen a couple of the pros doing, all right, is pivoting it forward. And then when you're standing up, they're reaching down and turning the pedal with one hand. Bro, seriously? Let's get a profile view of that. You see how it just pretty much gives you your cockpit back? It's just, yeah. And also, do that again. Do you guys hear that? You hear that when he moves it back and forth? Do it one more time. Exactly, you don't hear it, which means it's also not a metal click in, bang, that transmits through a plastic hole that sends noise out. Anyway,
Hey, Chad,
so it's...
Listen to this.
Yeah. You hear that? Do you guys hear that? Hold on. Do you hear that? Do you hear that?
You probably hear singing in the background.
You don't hear it because it's quiet. Why is it quiet? Tell everybody why it's
quiet. Because there's no metal on metal. You're not gears grinding. You're not aluminum or steel grinding on steel. You got the cog here turning a rubber belt, turning another cog that turns the flex drive inside of here. Now this cable runs inside this housing. This housing is has a stainless steel braid inside the rubber, and then it's a Teflon coated interior. And you know nothing sticks to Teflon. Teflon has very little friction resistance. So that cable is turning inside of there without having any resistance or friction, meaning you're not losing efficiency and it's not difficult to pedal, excuse me. So since ICAST, some of the little details.
Well, but actually, you know what? That little slip you just made, let's talk about that for a second. Here's the deal. What he just said was it's not difficult to paddle, which is true, because this is a pedal drive that retrofits to a paddle craft. It's not a boat that's designed to be pedaled and then you have to paddle it. It's a boat that's designed to be paddled and now you can pedal it. That makes for a better and more efficient hull when it comes to pedaling, but it's also a boat that you can still paddle when you get into shallow water, or if you decide not to take the pedal drive because you're fishing in a stump field or whatever. So glad you said that, because really it is a boat that you can paddle that you can now also pedal. So anyway, pick it back up.
Okay, great. So lots of little details. Right here, this little collar, injection molded part that keeps the drive cable connected but allows it to rotate freely. Now, if you need to disconnect it for any reason, 2 set screws, take them off. You can disconnect that without any effort at all. And coming back here, another new part to join the aluminum housing with the flexible housing. Real simple thing, you know, no sharp edges, nothing to catch on anything. This has been a big improvement right here on the steering. So we redesigned a custom part here on the steering control cable, replacing a kind of off-the-shelf clunky metal piece, and then building the steering handle and the steering control cable into one piece, so there's never any issue on how to mount this. The relationship, the distance between this and this are fixed. So it's not a matter of I have to assemble it right or it's not going to function right. It's already comes pre-assembled. You just drop it in.
So there's no need also for you folks that aren't mechanically inclined to do any tuning, tweaking, alignment. It's truly plug and play at this point.
Truly plug and play. There'll be inserts in the boat, so all you do is drop it in, take your thumb screws, tighten it down. No drilling, no screws into the boat, nothing permanent. Really simple.
For the folks that already have, you know, one of the Generation 1 flints, you just use set screws or self-tappers, right? Yeah, cool.
So no issue there.
I just want to point that out before the whole world, the Flint Nation, is rioting. It's simple. If you've already got the Flint, if you're an early adopter, you just use some self-tappers, drill a pilot hole, screw it right in there, you're good to go.
All right, so jump back here. We'll show you the steering in action. This is another big improvement with, again, we brought the steering control cable into the same bracket as the whole prop shaft is mounted on, so that distance is always going to be set, and it puts the steering at the optimal point for the maximum throw in either direction. Now you see how much that turns? This thing turns quickly when you're on the water. If you put it all the way to one side and you pedal, you're going to go in a circle that has about a 15-foot diameter, and this is an 11-foot boat, so you're basically just turning around on a top.
So you're not really turning on a dime, you're more like turning on a 15-cent piece, right? Yeah. Not a quarter, but not a dime, somewhere in the middle.
So that's that. So really vastly improved on the steering, the control, just the balance on that altogether. Simple little thing here, but these little thumb screws, untwist those, pull out the bolt that goes through here, and this whole thing lifts off. So if you're coming in from a day on the water, you undo that, this pops off, disconnect the steering cable here, and in literally 2 minutes you can have this thing packed up and be on the road home or on to the next fishing hole if your day's not done yet. So really easy to take on and off.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because when we did the last video at ICAST, one of the questions was, how easy is that thing to take on and off? So you just answered that. But here's another question that came up pretty regular. Can I travel with the motor installed? Guys are like, hey, I trailer my kayak. Is it going to be okay? Is it going to be okay for me to leave the motor, the pivot drive prop portion, the drive portion installed on the kayak? Is that okay?
You can. We've done that just going across town. If you're hitting the road and going for a drive, I would take the 2 minutes or 1 minute it's going to take that bolt off. Take the prop shaft off. Just lay it down in the kayak. Put a strap over it so it's secure. You're not going to have anything to worry about.
Okay, so recommended, but definitely not mandatory. In other words, if you're running and gunning in a tournament. I think the folks are asking about tournaments.
Yes.
If you're running from one spot to another, you throw it on the trailer, you leave the pivot drive installed, you go to the next spot, you slide it in the water, You're good to go.
Good to go.
All right, so let's talk about this. Here's another question. What is the weight of the system completely? Do you guys have the full spec weight? That was like probably 20 questions on the last video. It was like, how much weight is this going to add to the boat? Do you know that?
Don't have a final answer yet because we're still working on all the materials and all the shapes and stuff, but probably in that 15 to 20 pound range.
Okay, so it's not a significant increase, right in line with anything else that's out there, probably lighter than a lot and not as heavy as some. So overall, for a retrofit, I mean, so let me ask you this. What level of skill do you have to have for the installation? That was literally probably a third of the questions was, man, I bought my kayak online. Am I going to be able to install that myself, or am I going to have to go to a dealer to get it done? Now, I'll be honest with you. In the last video, even editing it myself, it looked a little bit like you'd have to know what you were doing. Didn't intimidate me because,
right.
I'm an engineer. I've got a lot of experience working on stuff. But just the two improvements that I saw with the steering and the single bracket back here makes it seem like it's going to be, but let's get it from the horse's mouth. Is this something that the average person with basic tools can do themselves?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to be very confident that it's someone who wouldn't consider themselves a DIY kayak guy, like I don't want to do all my own rigging and figure things out on my own. It's going to be able to get this, put it in, simple tools, hand tools. I mean, really just a wrench is all you need, and then thumb screws and knobs that you're going to use, just in your hand. So it's really simple. There's no measuring, there's no precise figuring out where things need to go because everything is already set in the system, locked into place based on mounted on the transom, based on the inserts in the gunnel. If you have a current flint without those inserts, you just lay it down, and where it rests, that's where it goes. So it's really going to be a simple installation.
So let me point out one thing, and I'm going to point this out because again, I didn't get in the dang old boat. So this is an observation though, and I'm going to say this with Blake kind of looking over my shoulder because it's an observation, and if I'm wrong, I want to be corrected on the spot before I put this video out and then somebody tells me it's not the case. But let's walk up to the front.
Sure.
Here's what I see, okay? I see that you've got adjustment here so you can move the pedals fore and aft, right?
Correct. Now,
and then I see that you've also got a combination of adjustment here, down here, for moving it fore and aft. Correct. So it seems like to me, you've got more trimability. You've got the ability to tweak this thing for your leg length, your seat position. Now, check this out. Combine that with the fact that the seat already moves on the track. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is the most trimmable, most adjustable pedal drive on the market. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
I'll add one thing and take away half a thing, okay?
All right, take away half a thing.
So the one thing I'm going to take away is you don't have a lot of ability to move the pedal tower because it's connected to the cable, which is a set length. So you got
not a lot, but how much?
Maybe an inch plus or minus from the center. So
little micro people or guys that are like super tall, not like you, but like super tall. I mean, that inch is all the world. But okay, so a little bit.
And the other thing I'm going to add in is the custom height on the seat. You have a 4-inch range on this seat height, how it can be configured. So if you like to be up high and you want to feel like you're on top of the pedals, you can do that just by reconfiguring the seat hardware. If you want to be down lower for maximum stability, have the pedals be more even, a little bit even recumbent, you can do that too. So it's really, you can dial it in, customize it to fit you just right.
All right, so I'm glad you said that because that's not something that I thought about when I was looking at it. But it's something that I actually installed on the new canoes that we have is the seat riser. Because Christy's a little micro person, and she just didn't like being as low. She liked to be able to stick something under the seat, so we installed the risers, both on the on the Pursuit and on one of the Flints. One of the kids likes it low, one of the kids likes it high. But here's the thing. One of the things I didn't like about pedal drives that I've used in the past is that when you're sitting low, you've got your feet above. So if you draw a line from your heart to your knees, you don't want that much of your biggest muscle mass, your quads, kind of uphill to your feet, pumping blood to your feet. And my feet went to sleep. And a couple of systems that I use, I'm not naming any names, I'm not throwing anybody in the bus, but I used some pedal drives and I just didn't like them because the seat was low, my feet were up high, and it was just uncomfortable because, again, you've got that large muscle mass, you're working, and your heart's pumping blood upstream. And so with this, you've got the ability, like Blake said, you raise your seat up a little bit and you're more in a downward angle. It's more natural. It's more like riding a bicycle. And I'm just going to tell you, it's more comfortable. And I ain't even used it. So, dude. All right, what else? Oh, There's one more question. I'm going to come over here so we can be side by side in this one. Because I'm kind of putting you on the spot on this one. I'm going to go ahead and tell you this.
Let me show you one more thing first.
All right, go ahead. Show me one more thing. Yeah, build the suspense.
All right, so.
I am going to put him on the spot. I got a question that everybody wanted to ask, and I'm going to put him on the spot. So let's hear this other one. Go ahead.
All right, so retract cord right here. So you want to raise the pedal, the drive up. Just pull, comes right up. Now it's a really cool system here. If you come out on this little latch, the retract cord is built into the prop shaft, down to that latch, and that's what releases it. So it's a good secure hold, locks in place, but you say, oh, what happens when I hit a stump, hit a log? Kicks right up. Nothing to break, nothing to go wrong.
Yet again, one of the reasons that I wasn't a fan of pedal drives is if you run into a stump, you end up with a chipped tooth or bite your tongue or bend a shaft or, yeah. Then you got a boat that doesn't paddle well, that doesn't pedal anymore, and anyway, so now it's time.
All right.
Let's put you on the spot. So we did the video. We did really well. We got a lot of views. People were pretty excited about the pivot drive. Okay. We showed it at the booth at ICAST. We've now shown it again. The most asked question was, man, that thing looks awesome. Will it work, and can I install that on other kayaks?
Chad, yes you can. We are pleased to announce that you will be able to put the pivot drive on the Frontier 12, the Pursuit, and the F10. So your choice, any existing Nucanoe model or future Nucanoe model.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Will fit right in.
Well played. You guys check out the new lineup of kayaks from Nucanoe. Be sure to check out the pivot drive. If you haven't checked out this Flint yet, you got to check it out. Like it says in the name, it's the Flint because it's hot. Y'all check it out, nucanoe.com. I'll put the link in the description box, and I'll see y'all next time.